It is a window into the mind of a mass murderer. More than 1,000 pages of documents from the investigation into the 2012 massacre at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Connecticut are giving us a dark, gruesome picture of the shooter, Adam Lanza. The material includes some of Lanza's own writing, psychiatrist reports spanning about 15 years of his life, notes from Lanza's own mother describing her son's developmental problems. It provides some insight into the years leading up to the day that Lanza killed 20 first graders, 6 educators, and his mother. David Altamari is an investigative reporter for the Hartford Courant, the paper that obtained these documents exclusively from the Connecticut State Police. David, thanks so much for joining me. And it's worth noting, it's been just days shy of 5 years here. This took a long time. It has been a personal mission of you and a number of your colleagues. Why did it take so long?
Well, we initially put in a Freedom of Information request in January of 2013. And the state police fought us every step of the way, all the way to the state Supreme Court. And the court ruled about a month or so ago that they had to turn the documents over to us. So it was a long battle, no question.
When something like this has happened, and I think Newtown is something that touched the nation even in a way that some other shootings did not because of the youth of the people who were killed, they want answers. They don't understand. When you look at these documents, did you gain new understanding that you didn't have previously?
I think we certainly learned more about Adam Lanza. Just the fact alone that he kept a spreadsheet that had 400 names of mass murderers on it and 17 categories, and had kept that spreadsheet probably for 3 or 4 years. I think that tells you an awful lot about the person we were dealing with. There's also a lot of stuff that he wrote that was never, that I don't think anybody ever saw, stuff that was found on his computer. One document in particular about pedophilia, about a screenplay about a pedophile. So we definitely learned some things about him that, there wasn't much about out there about before this.
And speak to that. That was a screenplay called Love Bound, and this theme of pedophilia came up multiple times, right?
Yes, it was basically a 4-page, I guess we'd call it a screenplay, but it was mostly just like partial scenes. Mm-hmm. But the theme of it was, in effect, what a relationship between a 30-year-old man and a 10-year-old boy. And there has been some references previously about, pedophilia, but nothing like this, where he's basically building a screenplay about it. He also mentioned suicide in that document and familicide in that document, 2 things that clearly played out on 12/14.
He had an obsession with violence that was so clear in these documents. You didn't necessarily need those to tell you much, but something that was so striking was what we learned a little bit about his mother and his relationship with his mother. One thing that stood out to me was a psychiatrist who worried about his being homeschooled, something that his mother wanted to do. She seemed to be worried about him being in school. The psychiatrist worried that bringing him just into the home would further reinforce the socialization difficulties that he was having. What all did you learn about his relationship with his mother?
She clearly had issues or problems with him in school, going to school. There were different psychiatrists who recommended different things. The one you're referring to from Yale, raised some red flags about him not going to school. One of the interesting things to me is the last year that he was homebound, schooled, was around the time that we believe he started doing research for this database, the mass shooting spreadsheet. So that kind of, he was 14, 15 years old at that time. And it was clear there was something that happened between when he was at Sandy Hook School and when he went to high school that completely changed him. He became almost a complete recluse by the end, and barely was even communicating with his mother, mostly just by email, frankly.
And he lived in the same house as her, which is important to note. That's why these documents are so helpful, that he was communicating in that way with her. Dave Altamari, thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.